Hey guys, Jeff aka GCurse here. How are y'all doing today? Uh I'm on the final day of having 3 days off. And when you have 3 days off, it's supposed to be fun. You're relaxing and everything. Well, the first day was actually pretty good. Then the bottom fell out. Yesterday, was Saturday, got some I got some news and it left me to the point where I was kind of stressing. Little known fact to those who are curious, when I stress, I literally kind of shut down. Like, literally, I just fall asleep and I just kind of forget about everything. Well, today being Sunday, the final day of my 3 days off, I got up and I did, my normal stuff. And I thought, you know what, let's try to do something fun, something that gets me in a good mood, I guess you could say. So I thought, you know what? Let's do a GCurse Recalls. GCurse Recalls, basically it is a series that I like to do from time to time where I basically recall like childhood memories or memories that revolve around something. And today that's actually something that I really, really like. But a little background before I get to the topic. Basically, when I was growing up, I was one of the kids that basically, if you had like a Nintendo, you didn't have a Super Nintendo when it first came out. Like, literally, when you got a Super Nintendo, it was kind of towards the end of the SNES, back, when the next system, which was this Nintendo 64, would come out. That's when I got my Super Nintendo. I remember that there used to be a neighbor. His first name was Joe. Coincidentally, his last name was also Miller. I think he was one of the few, if not the only boy on the block that actually had a Super Nintendo. When he got that Super Nintendo, oh my god, he was seen like as the guy. Because you got to remember back then, if you had a Super Nintendo, when it first came out, it's like that was like the big thing. So I would actually watch him play the Super Nintendo. He had Super Mario World and Super Mario Kart. I remember those were like the two games that he had. He probably had others. I just don't remember what they were, but he had Super Mario World and Super Mario Kart. And the thing was, he would only allow specific people to play games with him. So basically, when I would come over to watch, basically that's what I was doing. I was just watching. I was watching and thinking, oh god, how cool that would have been to be able to play those kind of games. Well, this was also back, I think it was like 92 or 93. It was when the Super Nintendo first debut, or was first, yeah, first debut. Let's see, SNES debut. Wow, it came out in 1990. No, that has to be late. That must be Japan. Let's see, what was it? I think it was like 92, 93 ish. See here, North America, 1991. Wow, it's even earlier than that. Okay, well, he had, like I said, I would, basically just sit on the sidelines and just watch him and, our friends play the Super Nintendo. And like I said, I was thinking, oh god, that'd be so cool if I could actually play, those kind of games. Nothing wrong, nothing bad against the NES, but when you have the NES and then you see the SNES and the leap in graphics, you basically kind of really, you know what you want. The Nintendo can only take you so far, but it was that Super Nintendo. That's when it would, it was like the next step up. Well, I didn't get a chance to actually touch a Super Nintendo until like 1994 ish. I think it was around 1994 if I remember correctly. And the chance that I got was actually quite fortuitous. I lived in a duplex at the time. I think that's the right term. It was like two. It was like two living spaces. Yeah. Well, it was me and my mom and my grandmother. We lived in one unit, and the next door unit, it was an elderly lady and her son. Well, her son had a bad habit of going to jail. He did a lot of bad things, and he was constantly going to jail. Well, one day, the lady, her name was Mabel. She was actually friends with my grandmother. And I'm guessing that she had enough of her kid going to jail. So basically, until he got cleaned up and he paid his rent, because he was paying rent to stay there. Until he did all that, basically, she considered all the stuff in the house hers. And she talked to my grandmother, and she asked my grandmother if I would like to use his Super Nintendo until he finally got his shit cleaned up. And my grandmother talked to my mom. She asked me, and I said, sure, that'd be awesome. I never had, even touched a Super Nintendo. So yeah, of course, bring it on. Yeah. So one day the neighbor brought over the Super Nintendo. She packed all into like a paper grocery bag. And there I sat the bag on my bed, and I was going through everything, and I didn't know how the hell I was going to get this thing connected, because that was more at that time. That was actually something my mom did. So I had to wait for her to come home from work. But I opened, the bag up, and I was removing the things. It came with 2 controllers, the system. I think it's called RF. It was that gray box you had to hook up to the back of your television. And then it came with like 3 games, if I remember correctly. Now, one of those games is what I'm going to be talking about and, kind of reliving my memories today. The first game was Super Mario World. Of course, it would be Super Mario World. Super Mario World was packed with every Super Nintendo. It was like the staple, yeah. The next game was Super Metroid. Now, I like Super Metroid, but I didn't like it as much as the other 2 games, Super Mario World and this third game. This third game actually got me so compelled that for me, it is like if they ever release this game, like say if they do a remaster or they just do an outright sequel, which they've never done that I'm aware of. If they ever did a sequel or a remaster of this game, and let's say they put it on the Nintendo Switch too, it would be a system seller for me. And that game is The Illusion of Gaia. And today I'm going to be recalling, giving you my thoughts about everything regarding this issue of Nintendo Power, which was issue number 65. It was released on October 1994. And I lived out of this magazine. Oh, 1994. God damn. That year I was actually starting in that fall. I was actually starting my final year of elementary school. I'm not sure how it is now, how the elementary school is kind of set up. But when I was going to elementary school, I was, you were there for 7 years. You had kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, and sixth grade. That's right. Back when I was going to elementary school, we were there for like 7 years, and it went from kindergarten to sixth grade. So, like I said, during, just around that summer, that summer leading up to sixth grade, I got, my neighbor's SNES. And like I said, Super Mario World was fun. Metroid was fun. But, Illusion of Gaia, that is what really sold me. I love that game. Even 20, oh God, more than 20, even 30 years later, I still remember Illusion of Gaia very fondly. It is, like I said, it's one of those games that back then, 100%ing was not really a common thing regarding video games, because we didn't have the internet like we do now. So you just play the game. But if 100%ing was, something that everybody did back in the early 90s, this is something I would have done. This was a game that I dang neared 90%. And we're going to be talking more about that in this video, but let's get on with it, shall we? Okay, so here we have archive.org. Archive.org is something I really endorse. It has a lot of stuff that people have taken time, loving time to really create a repository of things gone by. And one of the things now that it is no longer really being published is Nintendo. That's right. So you can go to archive.org with, and when you sign up, you can actually check out a digital copy of, like, say, a book or a magazine, and you can actually read it at your leisure. For example, to show you guys like how the checkout function works, let's do this really quick. I'm going to go to a book series I really love, the Christopher Pike books. These are a series of like young adult novels, I guess you could say, or suspense novels. And some of these books, I think it's them all, but some of them you may have to see. Now you're giving like an option here. I don't recall seeing it when I did the magazine just now, but you have to click on borrow if you want to really read it, because if you don't, click on borrow, you can only see a few pages and then it stops here, and then you got to use your account to basically, borrow this. And basically here's how it kind of goes. You basically click on borrow. If it works, okay, there it goes. And then you're given an option that when you're done reading it, you can actually just click return, and there you go. But you don't have like a set limit of how many times you can borrow something, at least that I know of. I've rented or borrowed the same book over and over and over again. So there isn't like it's really that, there's not like a limit. But let's go back to Nintendo Power, shall we? But sometimes, basically, it will, you will be given, an opportunity to basically check out a book. Now I gotta try to find it, or check it out, or borrow it, whatever you want to call it. And now it's going to be gone. It's probably going to be very hard to find. Hold on one second while I look for the magazine. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. So we are back here, and basically it is literally just, it's like an ebook basically. I'm going to expand it. It's there. Wait, hold on. I'm going to expand it. There you go. And then let's do this. There you go. And let's have some fun, shall we? So, and it basically can do it in multiple, formats. You can do a 1-page view, a 2-page view, or a thumbnail view. So let's start. So basically, I'm just going to go through this entire magazine. I may or may not talk about a lot of stuff. I'll give you some of my memories or whatnot. But actually here, let's go back to here. So I first found this magazine when I first started going to junior high school. I'm not sure if it's still called junior high school. I've heard it referred to as middle school or junior middle school or whatever you want to call it. But for me, when I went to junior high, it was known as junior high. I was in the library during my lunchtime. I was one of those students that basically, if like once we're done having your lunch, I would go to the library. My nose was always in a book during my lunchtime after I had my lunch. So the one thing that I was always doing was I was always checking out Nintendo Power, because they had, you got to remember, this is back before the advent of the popularity of the internet. Basically, the library was like your source of, entertainment and whatnot. They had an enormous selection of Nintendo Power magazines. I mean, my first year there, I was in heaven, because I could literally check out Nintendo Power magazine, 1 or 2 magazines per week, and I would not go through the entire selection of what they had that entire first year, because they just had so many of these magazines. But anyway, so I was looking through, seeing what there was to get my attention when I saw this cover here, and I knew right then and there I wanted to rent or check out this magazine because this I was still in possession of that Super Nintendo, but I was actually starting to get a little bit stuck in Illusion of Gaia, and day in and day out for that week I could check out that magazine. My nose was in that magazine the entire time. If I wasn't playing Illusion of Gaia, I was reading up on the tips and strategies for Illusion of Gaia. But let's get on with it, shall we? So, here we have, that's the thing about Nintendo Power. They always had some of the weirdest, coolest, outright strange advertisements in the world, basically, or in the industry of publishing. A lot of stuff you would not expect there to be in a gaming magazine was there. Take this guy, for example. Nintendo Power is packed with killer tips. Explaining body piercing to parents isn't one of them. Unless you got parents who are roadies for a hardcore band, a little trip to the tattoo shop means a lot of trouble, especially if you spout off some freedom of expression. Wow, this is getting deep. But big time punishment isn't so tough to take as long as you can also dish it, and that's where Nintendo Power comes in, dude. I added the dude. Every issue is packed with fighting moves, codes, maps, and other tips that'll help you get all kinds of trouble and still come out stoked. Yeah. Who looks more stoked than this guy right here with a tongue piercing? You just can't beat Nintendo Power. And at $18 a year, you sure can't beat the price. I'm wondering how much Nintendo subscription of Nintendo Power was actually going prior to them shutting down publications. So pass on the body piercings, just join the club. After all, jamming a needle through your tongue doesn't feel so good, and it's definitely nowhere near as fun as punching holes in the competition. Call 1-800-255-3700 to join now. Okay. So let's continue on, shall we? Okay, so here we have your standard table of contents, and it tells you everything you need to know for October 1994, volume number 65. We're going to have game reviews of Super Punch-Out!, Final Fantasy III, Maximum Carnage, Spider-Man and Venom, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Pac-Man 2, the best game ever, Illusion of Gaia, for the Super Nintendo, I should say, Brain Lord, Mega Man, Mortal Kombat, not 1 or 3, but 2, and Yogi's Gold Rush. Also, we're going to have special features of Cruisin' USA, and then some of the regular features. Oh, we also have a preview of Donkey Kong Country. Oh my god, Donkey Kong Country. That's another game I'm going to talk about in the future. And then we have your regular features here, ladies and gentlemen. We have classified information, Counselor's Corner, now playing, Pack Watch, next issue, and then we got the feedback section, which covers Players Pulse, Power Players Challenge, and the Top 20. Oh my god. Okay, so basically here we have I'm guessing this is the Player's Pulse. I can't really see here. Oh yeah, this is Player Pulse. Basically, it's the letters to the editor, I guess you could really say, and basically, it's just people sending in their letters to the editor. Super Punch-Out! Oh my god. I actually recently, I don't want to say recently because it's been under a year, but it's like last spring. I actually played Super Punch-Out! On the Nintendo Switch. It's a good game, but you got to really dedicate some time to it. You got to dedicate a lot of time to it, actually. And I just didn't have that kind of time because, with work and everything. Do I think this is better than the Punch Out from Nintendo from the NES? It has its positives, but honestly, me myself, I like the Punch Out from the NES. And basically, it's just giving you a little bit of information regarding the game. Like in the minor circuit, you have Gabby J Gabby J Piston Hurricane, not Piston Honda, Piston Hurricane. We have Bear Hugger, and over there, over there you have Bald Bull. In the major circuit, you have this totally non-stereotypical Bob Marley. We have Bob Charlie. We have the masked luchador, masked muscle. We have the non-Bruce Lee Dragon Chan, and we have the non-Mike Tyson Mr. Sandman. Little known fact, Mr. Sandman was actually brought in to Punch Out during the whole controversy regarding oh god, I just said his fucking name also. Mike Tyson. He was brought in because Mike Tyson, he did some pretty bad things to, I'm guessing, to a lot of ladies. And Nintendo's like, oh, we're not going to touch that. We're not going to touch that. Get him out of here. We'll get rid of him, and we will put in Mr. Sandman. And as of this time playing, as I'm recording this, I've only made it to Mr. Sandman in this game. I've actually never made it past him. In the world circuit, we have Ryan, Heiaki, Kagero. We have Mad Clown. We have Super Macho Man. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, the cream of the crop always rises to the top, baby. That was like my really bad Macho Man Randy Savage impersonation. We have Narcus Prince. We have this is part of the special circuit, by the way. The previous one was the world circuit. We have Hoy Quarlau. We have Rick Bruiser and Nick Bruiser. Must be brothers. So that was Super Punch Out. Like, it's a good game, but honestly, I like Punch Out for the NES. Donkey Kong Country. Holy shit. I actually did a retro replay of this on my GCurse my gaming channel. I did it last year. I actually had a lot of fun. I think I completed it on the Nintendo Switch. I think it was two, maybe 3 sessions. It's not a very long game. It's broken into a lot of small stages. But oh my god, it brought back a lot of memories. And if you're curious about that, I'll put it up in the corner, and you can see it if you would like. So, and here we have Kong's pals. You have Diddy Kong. You have Grumpy Kong. You have, I was about to say Sleddy Kong, but I won't do that. You have Dixie Kong. I think her name's Dixie Kong. Or, no, wait. Or is it Candy Kong? I can't. Cranky. Oh, it's Candy Kong. No, Dixie Kong is one of the other fucking games. And then you have the total stereotypical corporate idea of what every business thought hip was back in the early 90s. A guy with a do-rag, glasses, and all this stuff, and a surfboard. Woohoo! You can definitely see it now, ladies and gentlemen. The early 90s was like stereotypical time for every sort of business. And then you got Espresso, which is an ostrich. You have Ramby, which is a rhino. You have Winky, which is a frog. And you have On God, which is a swordfish. And then here it basically just talks about the enemies. You have Manky Kong. Apparently he's not going to be welcome at Thanksgiving. You have the Kremling crossings. You got Kremlings in the hole. Oh my god, this level here, the red light, green light, I fucking hated it. I hated it. And I think I even talked about how much I hated it in my retro replay. You got bees. bees scared the fuck out of me because they could sting and everything. My mom, when she was like allergic to bees, fucking scared the shit out of me, ladies and gentlemen. And then you got sharks. Sharks. Of course, everybody, everybody's going to have fear of sharks. It's that whole predatory, predator, prey thing that's ingrained in human psychology through the eons of time and everything. And then here it talks about what you can do, like Nectar of the Apes, Banana by the Billions, Up with the Balloons. You have the barrels. These are auto barrels, if you didn't know. You got regular barrels. You got the can slam. This game was actually pretty damn fun. This is actually also a game that they sold with the system. You could actually buy like a oh god, what's like I don't want to say combo system or combo. You can buy the game with the system. I can't recall what it's called. A special edition, I guess you could say. That's actually the one I got when I was younger. I got the special edition where it came with Donkey Kong Country, and the first game that was not part of the system that came, that I got for Christmas along with the game and the system, it was Killer Instinct. Oh my god, that was so much fun. Killer Instinct was actually freaking ahead of its time, in my opinion. Cruisin' USA. I actually rented this game a couple times from a nearby grocery store. Sadly, the grocery store's not there anymore. It used to be, the store was called Tops, Top Food and Drug. They actually had oh god, what you would call it? A video store on the inside of the store. This is back when like video rental locations were still very popular, and if they really could, they would cram a video rental location into anything. Back in the 80s and 90s, video rentals were as popular as like what Starbucks is today. You could not go into a store without there being either a full-fledged video rental location or there being like just a little alcove where you could just rent stuff. Okay, so Cruisin' USA. This was a game that was on the Nintendo 64, and this is one of the first Nintendo 64 games that racing games that I played when I finally got my Nintendo 64. This was once again one of those games that basically I rented a lot from Topps Food and Drugs, basically. Final Fantasy 3. Holy shit. Now, I never actually played any of the Final Fantasy games. My cousin Mike and his brother Matt, they were really big fans of the Final Fantasy games. I actually, a couple years ago, I bought a special bundle on the Xbox game store, whatever you call it. It actually has like the first 4 or 5 Final Fantasy games, and it's actually something I've been wanting to do a retro replay of. But sadly, due to work, I just have never really had the chance to. That's the downside about being a content creator and having, an outside job. You really kind of just got to kind of balance everything. And sadly, sometimes what I really love to do, like which is gameplay and that sort of stuff, it kind of has to fall by the wayside. And here you can see it I'm going to kind of zoom past through some of these things because I never play the game, so I can't really tell you anything that I know about them. Like I said, I really should one of these days start with the first Final Fantasy game. If I remember correctly, I think Final Fantasy 3, I think it's actually not known. It's not like the Final Fantasy 3. I think they renamed it Final Fantasy 3. I think they did like a whole bunch of like name shuffling around and everything. Okay, Earthworm Jim. I never played this game, but my only real experience is James, the Nintendo nerd, James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, Nintendo nerd, whatever you call him. He'd actually covered this if I remember correctly. Coming soon to your Super Nintendo from Playmates. To those who do not know, Playmates is actually a toy company also. They up until recently, Playmates actually had license for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys going all the way back to like the mid 1980s. It was like an ungodly amount of time. Imagine, like, say, if you were to compare that to anything, you could compare the amount of time that Playmates had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles license, and you can actually compare it to like how long Goldberg was champion, like how many victories Goldberg had as professional wrestling champion in the old WCW. It was like enormously long, like holy shit. Oh, sorry, let's go back here. And then on the right side here, you can barely see it. We have Spider-Man and Venom, Maximum Carnage. Maximum, I keep saying Maximum. Maximum Carnage was actually, I think it was like a half year, maybe it was even longer. It was a major, it was like a major comic book event where basically Carnage was just raising hell in New York City. He was raising hell, and it took Spider-Man and it took a whole bunch of heroes to finally put that motherfucker down. And in this game, you actually had a lot of those heroes. You had Cloak and Dagger, you had Captain America, as you can see here, Black Cat, Iron Fist, Firestar, Deathlock. You even had one of the coolest characters ever. You had Venom, and they were all just trying to take out Carnage. Now, the thing is, the people here, the Cloak and Dagger, Captain America, all those guys right there, they were side characters. They were basically like super powered, jump in, jump out individuals. You would press a button, and they would come in and do like a screen clearing attack. Now, here's the thing for me. When I was younger, I was fucking stupid. I'm not gonna lie. Your boy Jeff, aka GCurse, he was not the smartest of people. But anyway, when I first played this game, I would just constantly spam that special power, the characters. I'd spam those, special characters, and before I could even get past, like, say, the second or third level, I was out of them. I didn't have any more, and I was getting my shit constantly pushed in. It was a fun game. Oh my god, it was actually pretty hard when you didn't have those individuals. Hey, is that Carrot Top up there? This looks like Carrot Top. Oh, it's just okay. It's because of how small the picture is. He looks like Carrot Top. Does anybody remember Carrot Top? I remember Carrot Top. But anyway. This game has the reputation. I think this is the only Super Nintendo cartridge that was actually red. And I think James Rolfe even covered this on one of his videos. But I loved this game. Number one, because I'm a major Marvel fan, but I like beat 'em ups. I've loved beat 'em ups going all the way back to the River City Ransom for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Holy shit. And basically you just have more of the chapters. I was actually a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I wouldn't say a fan. I like the concept. Sadly, after I think in 2000, it was like Lightspeed Rescue. No, that was before. The last Power Rangers series I actually watched was Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, I think it was. I think Lost Galaxy came after Lightspeed Rescue. Maybe it was after, but it was like in that time frame there. It was that time frame. And to be honest, I kind of look at Power Rangers now like the same way I look at The Simpsons. And I'm thinking to myself, they're still making you? They're still making you? But from what I understand, I think Power Rangers, I think they actually just finished wrapping the final season, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so I actually play this game a lot also. Once again, this is going to be one thing you constantly hear from me is that I rented this from Tops. That's the one thing, because during this time I also kind of had a paperboy job. That's right, my first job. I was a paperboy. And a lot of the time, if I wasn't buying Marvel action figures or other stuff, I was renting video games. I would spend hours at the video store looking through all the games, walking back and forth, because when you rented a game, it was kind of like, oh god, an investment. That's kind of like what it was. It was literally an investment. you would literally be, kind of having to, it's something you're going to be dedicating your money to. You're not going to get that money back. Once you win the game, that was it. That was it, ladies and gentlemen. So basically, when you rented something, you would have to kind of, make sure that this is something you wanted. But anyway, classified information. This was basically the cheat section, ladies and gentlemen. This would actually tell you, like, it would give you hints on how to, basically kind of cheat. Let's see here. The one, I don't recall playing any of these games, but the one that caught my eye up here is Last Action Hero. A lot of people like to shit on the movie. I actually liked Last Action Hero. It's actually a pretty good Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Jamie Lee Curtis and everything. But for that game, you actually get unlimited life. Let's see here. I don't think I played any of these games. And then, of course, if you have any codes or anything you wanted to let Nintendo know, they actually gave you an address here. You can mail it to that address, and basically, you'd see it up here possibly. Pac-Man 2, never played it. I've only played Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man on the NES. I think I actually bought some of them for the Xbox Series X, but I never played them yet. And basically, it just gives you, talks about the game. Oh my God. It's like I'm living as a child again. It's like I'm literally back into that first week of junior high, and I've located this magazine, and I'm sitting down at the table in the library just after I checked out the magazine, and I'm opening it up, and I'm here. I'm fucking here. Oh my God, it's the memories. It's the memories. Oh, let's go back. It's the memories, ladies and gentlemen. I just can't tell you how much this game means to me. If it wasn't for the fact that my Super Nintendo, it basically died on me when I was younger. If I still had my Super Nintendo, I'd have that thing hooked up right now, and I'd be keeping this game. But sadly, after my Super Nintendo died, I got rid of everything. Because back then, you didn't know that you could actually fix these sort of things. And when things like the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo died, it didn't necessarily mean that it was the end. I'm actually shocked they never did a remake of this game. They never did a sequel of this game. How do you not do a remake or a sequel to something as awesome as Illusion of Gaia? I just don't know. I just don't know. Anyway, to those who are not in the know, basically you play as a boy. Oh God, I think his name was Will. I may be wrong, but Will may be one of the side characters, but I can't recall what his name is. Here, let's actually do some research, shall we? Hold on, let me do this real quick. Hold on, let's see here. Okay, here we are on the Wikipedia now. Okay, so Illusion of Gaia features large cast of characters. Will. So Will's one of the characters. So it was Will. Okay, so you do play as Will. I wasn't sure. I couldn't recall if Will was the was the main character or if he was one of the side characters. But anyway, so you basically play as this kid. His name is Will. And he goes on a journey basically to protect the planet from oncoming threat. I know it's pretty cliche, but back then it was like fucking awesome. And basically you go through like several different continents that you can actually see right there. And this is what the Earth was like before basically becoming the Earth that we all have now, ladies. Why I do this? Why I do this? I don't know. I just did it. I just did it. But basically, yeah, and this is back when everybody, during like the 80s and 90s, people were referring to the Earth as Gaia. I think it was like some sort of new wave, new age thing. I don't know. But that's another name for the planet is Gaia. Yeah. Okay, so, but yeah, so basically, Will, he actually had two power forms, or whatever you call it, or alternate egos. I don't know what you call it. Well, they call alter egos here, but basically you had Frieden, which is like a knight in armor. You can also see him right there. That's Frieden. And then you have Shadow. Fucking Shadow was awesome because I think he was just all flame. But it's like, imagine the Human Torch. Imagine the Human Torch, but it's instead of him just being like red fire, he was like oscillating colors. It was freaking awesome. I freaking liked it. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, if they announce Nintendo literally announced, we are resurrecting, or I think this was actually done by Squaresoft or just Soft. I can't recall if this is before or after the acquisition or merger or whatever you call it. But if it was announced, Illusion of Gaia would be getting a remaster or a sequel, and it was going to be on the Nintendo Switch 2. I would go and buy the Nintendo Switch 2 right now. That's how much I love this game. So, here are some of the things that you could actually check out in this game. They had the Incan Ruins, the Nazca Plain, Mu, the Great Wall, Angkor Wat, the Pyramid, and the Tower of Babel. Now, here's one of the things that really did a mind fuck on me when I played this game when I was younger. I think it was related to the Inca. Or it could be the Nazca. I can't, not Nazca. Yeah, Incan probably. Anyway, I think it was Will and the girl. Her name was Kara. They were on a ship. And the ship was actually made of like gold. Here, let's actually do this real quick. Hold on. Illusion of Gaia. Illusion of Gaia. Incan ship. I think it was Incan ship. Gold. Here it is. Yeah, it was the Incan gold ship. It is a significant location where players encounter various challenges and rewards. And it basically just goes to talk about it. But here's the catch. Here, let's do this. Here's the catch. It's like Will was having, I think he was having like an out-of-body experience. I can't remember exactly. But when he comes to, everybody on the ship, with the exception of Kara, I think this is when Kara was with him. Kara is the girl here. You can't really see it that well. Can I zoom in? Yeah, let's zoom in. Oh, crap. I don't know how. Oh, let's do this. Okay, right here. Yeah, right here. You see a girl like in pink? That is Kara. Basically, Kara and Will are the only ones on the ship when Will wakes up, and they're all dead. They're all dead. It's like because they're Incans. They've been dead for a fucking shit long time, you know. So basically, the one thing I loved about this, this portion of the game, basically it's like a 10 to 15 minute section of the game. Basically, they are, after the ship is sunk, they are literally stuck on this little piece of raft. And literally, you're just in the ocean with Kara. You're just in the ocean with Kara. Or on the raft, basically. And basically, you're just, it's like I said, 10 to 15 minutes, and these two are just kind of talking. And I think there's even like a little spat that they have. And I think Kara doesn't talk to him for a little bit. And basically, you're supposed to use your flute. In this game, the flute it's kind of like a triple tool. It's used as a musical tool. It's used like as a blunt sword, and Yeah, he could twist it like this, and like telepathically or something, draw items to him. It was an interesting concept. But anyway, to feed Will and Kara, Will must club. He has to club these fucking fish like they're baby seals. He's clubbing these fish like they're baby seals, and they eat the fish. The fish are like raw. They can't cook it. How can you cook it? They're literally stuck on a fucking raft in the middle of nowhere. They're stuck on a raft in the middle of nowhere. Fucking water to the north, to the south, to the east and west. So basically, they're eating this fish, rah, 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 like, and surprise, surprise, Will passes out. Who would have thought that eating food raw could have an adverse effect on anybody? I learned that from this game. You don't fucking eat food raw. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let's actually let's go back here. Zoom out. See, I'm not sure. Okay, I think. Okay, hold on. Okay, that should be good. Here you have like some of the locations. You have South Cape. South Cape is actually where the game starts. It's actually where the game starts. And basically this whole map that you see right here, this is literally the entire first level. And basically the Will and his friends, minus Kara, because Kara doesn't come in yet. Kara is actually off in Edward Castle. She's actually off at Edward Castle. And I don't think that Will and Kara meet until towards the end of the South Cape section. But anyway. So this building here is their school. And then each of these houses represents one of the, it's like one of the houses that that the friends live in. And then down here you have a little cave, and that's actually where the friends meet up all the time. And you have literally, it's like a who's who of friends. You have the brainy friend, you have the tough friend, you have the quiet friend, you have all the friends, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my god. So after you kind of put around South Cape for a while, you end up going. I think you go into your uncle's house. I think he has uncle's house. But anyway, there is a pig. I'm shitting you not. There is a pig that's like just going through different stuff, and he's like, "Hey, there's a pig here," and come to find out, the pig belongs to Kara. I'm trying to see if there's actually any pictures of it. Hold on, let me see here. I think this is actually it. Here, let me turn off my camera. Boom. Okay, now let me zoom in. Here and here. Okay, I think this is it right here. Basically, it says a matter of royalty. Princess Kara, daughter of King Edward, runs away from home and meets Will, but soon she is tracked down by the soldiers and dragged back to the castle. The next day, Will is summoned to his royal court. His journey is about to begin in earnest. And basically, this is like where, where the game kind of really starts. Here, let's do this. There we go. But yeah, I think the pig actually ends up dying either in the earlier part of the game or midway. I can't recall what, but I think the pig actually jumped on the thing of fire, if I remember correctly. And like I said, it's been 20 plus years, so it's been, you're gonna have to kind of forgive me for not remembering everything. So Edward goes to Edward Castle. He locates and frees Kara, and he has to face, King Edward's justice. I think if I remember correctly, I think King Edward, he was like under the effect of Dark Gaia. Dark Gaia, I think it was like a comet that was heading towards Earth. It was going to destroy everything. It was one of those, like, it was your stereotypical, comet is heading to Earth. It's corrupting and poisoning everything, and basically, you got to save the planet. Now, here's why I say that if 100%ing a game was a thing back in the 80s, I would have been very close. I would have been very close. Anyway. There it was a side section of this game, or a side mission, where you were supposed to gather, I think it was like 50 jewels. Yep, 50 red jewels. It even says right here. You're supposed to gather 50 red jewels. And I don't know what happened because I only gathered 40 jewels. 49. It drove me nuts. So I literally went through this book, and I think there was another book. I can't recall if there was or not. But it basically kind of shows you, like, or gives you hints about where the jewels are. And some of these fucking jewels were ungodly levels of difficulty to obtain. They just were. And if I remember correctly, after like every 5 jewels, you would get like an item or something. I can't recall what they were, but you would get something to, aid you in your as you progressed and everything. The first freaking jewel, I think it was the first or second freaking jewel. It was a jewel that pissed me the fuck off. And the reason is because if you look here, well, as you can see here, as well as you could next to the cave, you had to go in and out of the cave so many times. And it was just randomized. There was not a set number. And there would be a person, I think, sitting right here. It was on the dock. One of the friends was fishing. And after a while, a clay pot would kind of drift in. Now, let's see if I can actually find it, shall we? Let's see if I can find it. Okay, let's go back to this. .com. Oh, by the way, this is one of the best themes for The Rock ever. The final boss theme. Fucking awesome. Okay, so Illusion, Gaia, Red Jewel, Cape Town, Fisherman. Let's see if we can actually find it. Oh, maybe it's on this side. Oh, here it is. Okay, let's see here. I may not. Let's see here. Do I have? Oh, I do have computer audio. Awesome. I do have a setup for this. Okay, so let's see if we can find it. Let's see here. Right here. Okay.
In Illusion of Gaia on the SNES, there's one main side quest: to collect all 50 red jewels. The more jewels you get, the more goodies you get from the jeweler gem. Early on in the game in South Cape, there's a somewhat tricky red jewel that can be missed. On the docks near the Friend Cave, there will be a fisherman who can...
Okay, hold on, guys. I'm sorry. I did not realize the audio was muted. Here, I will have to... Let's do this. Go back to there. I'm going to mute my microphone.
In Illusion of Gaia on the SNES, there's one main side quest: to collect all 50 red jewels. The more jewels you get, the more goodies you get from the jeweler gem. Early on in the game in South Cape, there's a somewhat tricky red jewel that can be missed. On the docks near the Friend Cave, there will be a fisherman who can be found in different spots. Ultimately, you want to find him right outside the cave where you could search his pot for the jewel. I've seen tons of banter about this online, but at the end of the day, all you need to do is go in and out of the cave and have some patience. Eventually the fisherman will be there, and you'll be able to get your, likely, third red jewel from South Cape. In Illusion of Gaia on the SNES, there's...
Okay, so he actually makes it sound like it's pretty easy, but it's not. It's not. That motherfucker was almost impossible for me to get. I originally thought that the game, that I had a copy of the game that was possibly fucked up or something, because I went in and out of that fucking cave so many times. So many fucking times. I originally, you know what? Okay, fuck it. I give up. So I then, continued on my little trek around South Cape, And then just before I decided to go and rescue Kara, I decided to just go to the back to the cave to see if my friends had anything to say. When I left that cave, that motherfucker was fishing. Oh God. But yeah, so the only thing, it was just that stupid, like that, I don't know what jewel it was I missed, but I only had 49 of them. I only had 49. It drove me fucking nuts. It drove me nuts. Okay. So we're basically going to visit Kara. Okay, and then we do a jailbreak. And these guys up here, they actually remind me of the same fucking enemies from the NES, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first NES game. There were these guys. I've heard that they were on fire. I originally thought that they were walking quicksand. That's what these guys remind me of. Okay, so basically going into prison, and I think in the prison is where you get your first alter form, which is Freedom, because I think you're gonna have like a boss that you're gonna face pretty soon in the prison, maybe not. Oh God, I can't recall. Maybe it's not in the prison, but you have like this devil guy. It's like all red skin, yellow eyes, horns, and everything. And I thought that that's where you first get Freedom. But anyway. So you rescue Princess Kara. This game, like I said, I may seem like an unhinged lunatic talking about this game, but I love this game so much. So, and then as you continue playing the game, like I said, you get to see different areas. You see the Moon Tribe camp. You see the Incan ruins. You get several powers. You get the Psycho Dash. You get the Telepath. The thing where you jiggle your fucking see what I'm doing with my hand. You jiggle or you wave or you twist your flute. The flute, that's what it's called. The flute. And you get telepathy or telekinesis. You get Psycho Dash. You just get a whole bunch of shit ton of fun stuff. This motherfucker right here. This guy, the Claws of Doom. What's his name again? I can't recall what his name is. Can't see what his name is. I can't tell. Anyway, basically you face this guy as Freedom. I remember so many times playing this game. This is one of the first games that I played that actually I was so entranced in playing this game. Hold on one second. But yeah, this is one of those games I just remember just passing days as I was just playing this game. And during the summer, oh my God, you want to be outside as a kid playing games, but this game, it's like this game fucking called to me. This game called to me. I wanted to keep playing this game forever. And here's the ship, the Incan Odyssey. There's the ship and everything. And we got journal. There's also journal entries. I think I don't recall that they were actually in the game. I think this is just something that they were typing up for the magazine itself. And that's sadly it. That's sadly it. You would think for this wasn't just like an entry in a magazine. This was actually the cover. You would have thought that for it being the cover, of the cover of the game or the magazine, the title, it's like this game literally took the majority of this fucking cover. You would have thought that they would have dedicated more time to this game or more coverage to this game than what they did. I felt kind of ripped off, to be honest. But anyway, so we have to kind of move on, even though I don't want to, because I loved Illusion of Gaia. Like I said, if I said it before in this video, I'll say it again. If they brought the game back, it'd be a system seller. I would guarantee that I would buy that system right now. There's that, everybody says, oh, this game is a system seller. For me, Illusion of Gaia is a system seller. No, I don't know anything about this game. Okay, let's continue on. Counselor's Corner. And here, basically, you can ask questions, and sometimes, they'll have answers. Like for Super Metroid, how do I refill energy using a power bomb? And it basically gives you the information and stuff. Donkey Kong, how do I complete level 3-1? Tetris 2, my mom loved I was about to say Tetris. She loved Tetris. If I could, if my mom came back from death, if she ever did, which I know never happens, I would have asked her, hey, Mom, would you like to play a game of Tetris? And then we have the Power Players Challenge. And basically, these are just, it's kind of like where people can share their scores and their biggest accomplishments and stuff. Mega Man 5. Once again, I actually have a compilation game set of Mega Man games that I bought a couple years ago on the Series X. It kind of falls in the line uh of the Final Fantasy games. I just don't have time. I just don't have time. I played a little bit of, I think it was the very first Mega Man game when I was younger, but because when you're younger, you're playing a lot of games. I just, Mortal Kombat 2. It kind of sucks that they're showcasing the Game Boy version, but hell, I actually had Mortal Kombat 2 for my Super Nintendo. I actually got it during the summer one time. During the early 90s or mid 90s at this point when I got my Super Nintendo, they actually had, nowadays it's pretty common, used game stores, but back in the mid 90s it wasn't that common, that common at all. A place called the Northwest Trading Post came into the mall. They weren't there that long, and basically they were game resellers. Basically, I actually got the first Mortal Kombat game and Mortal Kombat 2 for my Super Nintendo. I saved up some money for my paper delivery job, and I bought those two games. Honestly, I like Mortal Kombat 2 more than Mortal Kombat 1, but then again, that's kind of normal because, sequel is always supposed to be a little bit better. Yogi's Gold Rush. Never played it. Here we have an advertisement, it looks like. Touchdown in Dallas, Troy Aikman. I'm guessing you enter a contest and basically you can either meet or you can play some football with Troy Aikman. That's nice of them. And then you got some more stuff. Oh, that's right. He had I'll say baseball, a football game. Okay, here is the Nintendo Power Top 20. Now you got to remember when they first started doing this, it was originally just like Nintendo games, and then they expanded to Super Nintendo and Game Boy, and then later on they did Nintendo 64, and oddly enough, Virtual Boy. But here, let's take a look at some of these things. So we'll start off with the NES, and I'll see how many of these games I played and whatnot. Okay, so we have The Legend of Zelda. One of the best classic games, one of the funnest games. Last year, I actually did a retro replay of Legend of Zelda on the Nintendo Switch. When I was younger, I actually had the brass cartridge of both the Legend of Zelda and oh god, I had the gold of the brass Legend of Zelda and the standard gray, if I remember correctly, of the Legend of Zelda 2. But sadly, like I mentioned before, with the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo also died. Dr. Mario, I played it. My mom loved Dr. Mario more than I did, but it was still a fun little game. Mega Man 6, never played it. Metroid, I played a little bit on the Nintendo Switch, didn't really get that far. Super Mario Brothers 3. I did something that probably destroy the lifespan of my Nintendo. And here's what I did, ladies and gentlemen. I would play this game in the morning before I would go to school. When it was time to go to school, I turned the TV off. I left the Nintendo on. And I would go to school, and then when I came back, I turned on the TV and resumed playing the game. I'm pretty sure it just fucked up my system doing that, but, you know. NES Open Tournament Golf, never played it. Tetris 2, Mom liked it. Baseball Stars, nope. Tetris, well, wait, what? Why the fuck is Tetris 2 on twice? Oh, that's weird. Final Fantasy came in 10th. Kirby's Adventure 11th. Never played Kirby's Adventure. I have a few friends that like Kirby and everything. Let's see, Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. As much as I like the idea of Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, I just couldn't really get into it. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe it was because it was a different kind of format. Whereas Legend of Zelda was top down. This one, Zelda 2 was side-scrolling with RPG elements. I think that's possibly what it was. Mega Man, I think V is 5, if I remember correctly. Never played it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project. That was also a game that I rented the holy hell out of. I rented the holy hell out of that game. And it was to the point my mom, she's basically like, fuck it, I'll just buy him the game. I'll just buy him the game. Because literally I was renting that game so much that basically renting it was actually costing more than buying the game. But yeah, I remember that the very first time I came across that game, it was a Friday. Now, to those who grew up with the Nintendo and Super Nintendo, you know what Friday was. That's right, Friday was game rental day. You do good in school, you can rent a game. And I remember it was a Friday that me and my mom was going to Tops after we did our shopping in Longview after she picked me up from school one day. We had to go to Tops to finish getting groceries. I went into the store, into the games, into the video store to see, just see what they had. I was originally thinking about, renting a movie at the time, but I went to the games and I saw that game. I freaked the fuck out. It's like meeting your hero. You're like, oh my god! I saw that game and I instantly grabbed it. I did not let anybody see that game. I kept it. I was holding it close to me. That way, when mom got done grocery shopping, she came into the video store to see if there was anything I wanted to rent. I'd have it with me. I did not let that game go at all. Tecmo Super Bowl. My cousins had the game. I did not. Dragon Warrior 4. Never played it. Yoshi's Cookie. I played a little bit of that. Zoda's Revenge. Star Tropics 2. I never played Star Tropics. I'm wondering if they have it on Nintendo Switch. I should check it again. Monopoly. Don't tell anybody I told you this. Put your hand up. Put your hand up. Put your hand up and go, okay, Jeff, I'm not going to tell anybody this, okay? I'm going to tell you a secret. I'm going to tell you a secret, and I expect you to go to the grave with it. You ready? Here it is. My mom, she kicked my ass at Monopoly. Yeah, I know. Your boy, Jeff, a.k.a. GCurse, he got his ass kicked by his mom. You would not believe how cutthroat some moms can be playing Monopoly. Holy. My mom, she was like a fucking hitman. She was like a fucking ninja. She'd jump in and slap my throat. She would literally jump in and slit my throat. Take out my money and leave. Oh, God, I miss her so much. Ah! I don't think I ever won a game of Monopoly against her. And then finally we have Crystallis. Crystallis. Okay, here, let me do this really quick. I'm going to move my camera. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, hold on. Let me move my... Let's see. Does that help a little bit? I'm going to have to adjust my... See here. Hold on, I'm just going to adjust my camera a little bit. Does it... Okay, there it goes. So, let's talk about Super Nintendo. Super Street Fighter 2. Here, there you go. Super Street Fighter 2, I played a little bit of it. It was actually one of the bigger or more requested games at Topps, the Topps video store, you know. I played it. King Griffey Jr. presents MLB. Oh my god. I remember when like King Griffey Jr. and Ichiro for the Seattle Mariners, they were like the biggest things ever. And this here proves for King Griffey Jr. he had his own baseball game. Super Metroid. I love the game. It's actually a game that I really like playing during the fall. It's actually a game I really like playing during the fall. I'm not sure what it is. It was just something about that game, the atmosphere. It's like a game. Here's the thing. Here's the setting. You get home. It's after school. You're like the only one home. You get home, your mom's off at work. It's pouring down rain. It's cold. It's like a cold October evening. You know, it's a Tuesday evening. You get home, you're cold, you're wet. You turn on the heater of your home. You change your clothing and everything because you're soaking wet because you walked home from work, from school against your mom's wishes. She like, Jeff, please take the bus home. No, Mom, I got it. I walk home, get cold, you know, wet and everything. But anyway, it's pouring rain. You're making your own dinner because your mom's working late. And as the soup is cooking, you put in Super Metroid into your Nintendo and you're playing it. It's getting a little bit dark, you know, so you have to turn on the light in the living room. You're playing. The rain is getting heavier and heavier because it's a fall evening in Kelso, Washington, which means just fucking storms. So as you're making your way through the game, you can just hear the rain. It's just battering the roof, you know. That's kind of like what it was for me when I was playing Super Metroid. Like I said, I'm not sure what it is, but for me, Super Metroid is definitely a game that you would play when basically you're, you know, it's a fall evening. I'm not sure what it is. It just has that feeling. NBA Jam. It's good. I don't remember that much about it. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. I think this is also maybe one of the games. Yeah, it was one of the games that was also included in that, you know, bag when I was borrowing the Super Nintendo from my neighbor. It was okay. I remember how it's very atmospheric when you first start playing the game, when Link is in the bed and you hear the water, the rain and everything. It's those little things I tend to remember, like the atmosphere and everything. FIFA International Soccer, never played it. Mortal Kombat 2. I think Mortal Kombat 2 is one of the best Mortal Kombat games ever. And I'll die on that hill. I will die on that hill. I think it's one of the best Mortal Kombat games ever. I really should buy that Mortal Kombat anthology set, yeah. Super Mario Kart. That was actually one of the few non-puzzle games that I was actually able to get my mom to play against me. Here's something I did that would drive my mom fucking nuts. And when I say fucking nuts, I mean I think my mom would have killed me if she had a chance. So you could actually outrun if you knew the levels well enough. If somebody fired a red shell at you, you could actually just keep outrunning it. It'd still follow you, but you could keep driving if you know how to drift and all that, you know. What I would used to do, what I used to do was that I would basically, I would, have the shell following me. My mom, she would think that she was so fucking funny. She would stop because she would think that that red shell was going to hit me. I would get behind her. I'd quickly veer to the left. And when I got in front of her, I'd veer to the right again. And that red shell would hit her. Oh, that actually hurt. Fuck that. Every time I did that, I thought for sure she was going to fucking kill me. Because you know how moms are. You know how moms are. God, that hurt real quick. Yeah, my mom, she would just give me that look. She'd give me that look like, you better not go to sleep tonight. Mega Man 10, never played it. Stunt Race FX, I don't recall ever playing that game. Mortal Kombat, I can respect what they did with Mortal Kombat, the very first Mortal Kombat game. It was like revolutionary. But nowadays, even comparing Mortal Kombat to Mortal Kombat 2 to Mortal Kombat 3, you can definitely tell Mortal Kombat out of those first three games, it was like the weakest out of those three games. Secret of Mana, never played it. Star Fox, I played a little bit of it when my cousin Peter would come to visit and everything. I didn't actually finish the game. Sim City. My cousin Mike actually had this game. I never actually played it, but I watched him play it, and nowadays makes me wish that they had, the classic SimCity for the current consoles. I should check. Maybe they do. I just don't know. But anyway, Disney's Aladdin. I actually bought recently. It was a request from a viewer on my gaming channel. I actually bought the Disney movie collection. It has like Lion King, Aladdin, and something else. I can't recall what the third one was. So I should play that game. Yeah. Let's see here. NHL Stanley Cup, never played it. Super Mario All-Stars. That game blew my fucking mind. It blew my mind, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't think it was possible to, when you're younger, and everything, you or especially in the 80s and 90s, you thought one game could only fit on a cartridge. When I found out that Nintendo put not only one game or two games, but like I think it was like a total of 4, maybe 5 games. It was Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, if I remember correctly, and then the Lost Level. So yeah, about 5 games. When they did that, my mind, what? Like what? Oh God, I was just like, wow. I'm still trying to figure out why my camera, is it my microphone? I'm wondering if, or it could be my hoodie. Anyway. My mind was fucking blown. Like, wow. All of these games on one cartridge. Holy hell. Madden, never played. Final Fantasy 2, nope. Illusion got 20th place. There is truly no hope for humanity, ladies and gentlemen. Truly no hope for humanity. '20th place. Oh, I feel shunned. I feel shunned, ladies. Game Boy. Donkey Kong. Now, a lot of these games I did not play. I did have a Game Boy, but I just did not have that many games. Didn't play Game Boy. Didn't play Donkey Kong. Didn't play Wario Land. Didn't play Legend of Zelda. Didn't play. I had the first Super Mario Land, but I did not have Super Mario Land 2. Did not have Kirby Dream Land. Tetris. Tetris, I think it was mandatory that everybody had Tetris, basically because it came with the Game Boy. So unless you bought your Game Boy like second hand, you were going to get Tetris. So, Tetris was a good game. Super Mario Land, yes. Although some of the enemies kind of like made me scratch my head, because if I remember correctly, they were like animated versions of like those Easter Island statue heads. It's like, what the fuck is that? Metroid 2, Return of Samus, never played. Mortal Kombat, I actually borrowed Mortal Kombat for the Game Boy from my neighbor Joe, which I mentioned earlier in this video. Although he got pissed off because when I borrowed it, it was at the beginning of summer vacation. So I ended up actually having the game for a couple months. It kind of pissed him off, I think. F1 Race, never played. Never played Jurassic Park. Kirby's Pinball Land, nope. Mega Man 5, nope. Golf, nope. Dr. Mario. I had Dr. Mario, but it's more because my mom liked it. So basically, me and my mom would share the Game Boy. Faceball 2000, nope. Tetris 2. I don't think we had that one. Black Bass. Wow, they had a fishing game for Game Boy? Never played it. TMNT, The Fall of the Foot Clan. Actually, it was a fun game. I actually own the TMNT compilation game set that came out a year, maybe 2 years ago. It's actually on that, but I also had it on the Game Boy, and it's actually pretty fun. And then baseball. And I never played baseball. Here, let me move my camera again. There we go. Okay. Oh, wrong way. Oh, okay. Now playing. Now, these are the games. Okay, so this may be why Illusion of Gaia was only 20th place. Maybe it's because it was just releasing at that time. Illusion of Gaia came out September 1994 for a suggested retail price. Hold on, I gotta check. Hold on. $69.95. Wow. And then let's see here. We had Super Punch Out, October 1994, $59.95. Spider-Man Venom. $74.95. We are now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we were kind of upset, recently when they started jacking the prices of modern games up by $10, let's say from $59 to $69. September 1994, 16 megabyte game, Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage went for $74.95. Ooh, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize they were that expensive, because when I did buy video games, which wasn't that often, I buy them. When I bought them, they were used, so buying them new was pretty rare. I never recalled seeing a game at KB Toys, at Target, or Fred Meyer's or Walmart, especially during the Super Nintendo era, that they were that much. Wow. We have Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, October 1994. Suggested retail price not available. When they don't have the price available, makes you kind of wonder how bad it's going to be. Final Fantasy 3. Suggested price not available. Oh, that's weird. And then Pac-Man 2: The New Adventures, October 1994, $59.95. Oh, hey, we got more. Brain Lord. Not available. October 1994. Okay, behind me we have Wild Guns, $69.95. It makes me think, like, why are these games so expensive back then? Yeah, like, see here, Virtual Bart. Oh my god! Like I said, even at this time, even in 1994, when I was younger and I watched The Simpsons, was it 1994, maybe 1995, around the time that they did the whole "Who Shot Mr. Burns" 2 parts cliffhanger? Well, it was seriously at that point. It could have been 94, 95. I don't recall exactly when. Here, let's actually do some research, shall we? Shall we? Okay, let's do this. See here. What year did The Simpsons Who Shot Mr. Burns episode debut? 1995. 1995. Who Shot Mr. Burns originally aired May 21st, 1995. It was a 2-part episode of the 25th and final episode. Like I said, it was a cliffhanger. It was at this point when I was younger. I was like, it's like, okay, Bart really kind of ran his coolness factor, that was kind of over. And the fact that they were still trying to push Bart like he was some sort of, anti-authority was kind of sad, because nowadays I haven't seen Simpsons since, like I said, since Who Shot Mr. Burns. Right after that clip, the season, the next season, when it turned out to be Maggie, I'm like, okay, fuck it, I'm done. Did they even fucking grow up yet? Did they even grow up yet? But anyway. Bubsy 2, $69.95 October. Shit. I think we actually kind of have it kind of lucky now. We're complaining about games costing $69, $79 for a standard edition. Hell, 1994, games were actually going for $69, if not more. Okay, hold on. I'm going to go back to Legend of Zelda. Or not Legend of Illusion of Gaia. Okay, hold on. Let me move my camera. Or actually, I'm just going to turn off my camera. Hold on. Because it has the positives and negatives. Okay, so for the positives for Illusion of Gaia, great graphics, fun story, great variety of gameplay, and lots of depth. The best adventure game of the year. Oh, I totally agree. It's fucking awesome. An exclusive Nintendo Power Guide, Explorer's Guide comes. That could be why the game was $69. It came with a guide. I didn't know that. Negative, more linear than Zelda games, but the plot is more involved as well. Players will want even more. Oh, I totally agree, ladies and gentlemen. I totally freaking agree. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, so Ultima 2 Ruins of Virtue never played. Not available. October 1994, Yogi Bear, 60. Why does the Yogi Bear game need $64? Please, can somebody tell me why? Kid Clown and Crazy Chase. Gee whiz, the price is not available. I can only figure out why. Okay, so let's see here. What game is it? I can't tell what game this is. It doesn't. Oh, there it is. Wait, no. Oh, it still does. Okay, there it goes. Fatal Fury Special. Not available. Come on. Just tell us something. That's one thing that even drives me nuts to this day. You go online. Say you go to Walmart or Target. You're shopping. You're looking for. Let's say you're looking for cell phone cases, for example. You're looking for a cell phone case for your phone. You see a cell phone case you would like, and it has the prices for all these other cell phone cases. You see the case that you want, but it says add it to your cart, and the price is basically shown in checkout. No! Why the fuck should the consumer have to add it to the cart and then go into checkout to see what the price is? You wanna know why? Because I'd make you a bet that the price is so fucking high that the people would see it before they actually put it in the company. Like, oh, fuck that. Fuck that. I'm not going to pay, I'm not going to pay that much for a cell phone case. But I think the logic may be that maybe if they already put the case in the cart and then they're in checkout, it's like, well, I already got it. It's like, this is what I really want. I'm going to spend the extra money. That's at least, that's my crackpot idea. Okay, so Mortal Kombat 2 for the Game Boy. $34.95. Wow. Okay, that looks like that may be the normal price though, because Yogi Bear Gold Rush is also $34.95. Let's see, what does it say for Mortal Kombat though? Excellent action graphics. A definite improvement over the original Game Boy version. Better backgrounds, better play control. No 2-player option, no Super Game Boy backgrounds or screen colors. The game does look good on Super Game Boy. Some of the fatalities and other moves were not included. And then we have Yogi Bear Gold Rush, $34.95, October 1994. Okay, so we have a look into the games of the future. Pack Watch. And basically, I'm guessing these are games that are going to be coming out in the near future. So, let's see here. Demon's Crest, never played. Brutal Paws of Fury, never played. Super Return of the Jedi. This is actually a game I rented from Topps. I rented it once, and I never rented it again. Not because the game is bad. It was just that it was so fucking hard. I'm pretty sure that there are, people who could play this game and master it with their eyes closed. Not me. Not with my fat fingers and everything. The game looks nice, but it was just so fucking difficult. I love what they did with this game, but I just could never play it. Or complete it. Mickey Mania. It's a Sony game on a Nintendo console. Oh man, imagine about 3 to 4 years when the PlayStation 1 comes out. Holy shit, I don't think you're going to be finding a Sony game on a Nintendo console after that for quite a long time. Civilization, never played. Street Racer, never played. Beavis and Butthead. But although, when did that game come out? Does it say when it came out? Because this was October 1994. Well, I didn't start. Let's see, October 1994. I was in, depending on the time of the year. Let's see here. When did Beavis Butthead SNES debut? 1994. Okay, this could have been just before I started 6th grade. Does it say when? Because in 1994, when I was in 5th grade, I had to have an emergency tonsillectomy because my tonsils were like all sorts of fucked up. And basically, the doctor told my mom, he's like, your son needs to get his tonsils cut out. Basically, he was having like a lot of problems, or I was having a lot of problems. They cut my tonsils out. They did like a, I'm not sure what the correct term is, but they examined the tonsils and they actually said that my tonsils, if I kept my tonsils, for a few more weeks, my tonsils were on the verge of becoming cancerous. They ended up having to cut not only my tonsils off, they had to cut the flesh out of my throat where the tonsils were, because they were already, that bad. So this, let's see here, May, October 1994. I could have sworn I played this game during my recovery, though. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I played it later. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. Beavis and Butthead. You can't go wrong with Beavis and Butthead. You just can't. I love this game. My mom, my mom being, a good mom like she was, when I said, "Hey, Mom, can I watch Beavis and Butthead?" She didn't even have to say no. She just went, and that literally said it all. So here's something I did when I was really young. Don't tell my mom. So when Beavis and Butthead would air, I think it was like at 10:30, 11ish on MTV. Now MTV during this time in the in the 90s, early 90s, when they first debuted, they were on Century Communications, which was the television company where I lived at the time. They were on channel 34. So I had this old small Sony television, and the television wasn't digital at all. It had like little knobs on the undercarriage of the frame, the front of the frame, little knobs that you have to kind of turn to turn the brightness up and down, the coloring, all that. So here's what I did. I knew that Beavis and Butthead would be on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, around that time frame. I had to be in bed no later than 10 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. Sunday, I had to be in bed at 9 because school was the next day. I would wait till my mom went to bed, and I had a clock in my room. I would look at the clock. I would see that it was 10, about almost about the time Beavis and Butthead would come on. And I would, get up out of my bed, carefully walk to my bedroom door. I'd carefully close the door. I would leave the light off. Because my mom, she even though her bedroom was across the hallway and the head of her bed was actually at the farthest end of the room, so she technically could not see my bedroom door from her perspective. Somehow she had eyes like a hawk. If I turned the lights on, even though I closed my bedroom door, she would still be able to see just a little bit of light shining under, on the carpet from underneath the door. So I couldn't risk that. So what I would do is I would get up, carefully close the door. I would walk over to the TV. I would then turn down the brightness. Turn down the brightness. The TV actually had a headphone jack on the side. I would plug in my headphones that I would have that came with my Walkman. I'd plug them in. I would turn on the TV, and you could barely see the picture, but I could hear the video or the TV show, and that's how I would watch Beavis and Butthead. She never found out. Please don't tell her. I think she's going to kill me if she finds out. But anyway, going back to the game. This was one of those few games I had to rent in privacy. It's kind of like when you're a teenager and you find a porno magazine. You got to keep that thing secret. You can't let anybody see it, especially your parents, especially your mom. So when I rented this game, I would have to rent this game and not let her know about it. So basically, what I would do is I would, uh, go to Tops, rent a game. I'd rent 2 games. There would be one game, then the other game would, like, say, be Beavis and Butthead. And I would come home, and the thing was, I would have to kind of hide that second game, like, in my coat, under my shirt, or whatever possible, just to make sure she did not see the game. Because God help me if she found that game. Ooh, boy. Anyway. Bass Relief, never played. NCAA Final Four basketball, never played. Madden 95. Oh my God, I can't believe Madden was all the way back then. Holy shit. Never played. Pack Watch update. And then it looks like they're talking about the game Wolverine. I'm wondering, isn't this Wolverine Adamantium Rage or whatever it was called? And then we have, okay, so up here let me just turn off my camera. Hold on, let me turn off my camera. So we have Stargate. We have, let's see here. Let's zoom in. Oh God, even zoomed in, it doesn't help. I can't tell what that is. And then we got Balls. That has to be the weirdest name for a video game ever. Balls. We got, is that Guile? I think that says Guile. And we got a couple things here. Carrier Aces. I don't know what this says. Okay, so up here we have future games for the SNES. Here, can I zoom in like this? Okay, that actually helps a little bit. Okay. Here, let's scroll over. Okay, so these were the future releases for the Super Nintendo, and these were the approximate release dates. So the games I'm going to list here were all the way in fall 1994. So we had Addams Family Values. Never played it. It was a decent movie. It wasn't as good as the first. Adventures of Batman and Robin. That was based on the cartoon series, if I remember correctly. I actually never saw that game anywhere in my area. I love the TV show. Never saw the game though. Arrow Fighter, Battletech, Beavis and Butthead. That's cool. Brutal, Paws of Fury, Bubsy 2, Captain Commando, Cannonball Cup, Civilization, Deep Space Nine. I actually played Deep Space Nine. I think wasn't it called like Crossroads of Time or something like that? Or was that the Next Generation? I can't recall. But I couldn't really get into it because I rented it from, at that time, I rented that game from Hollywood Video. Yeah, that's how old I am. Hollywood Video used to be around. Anyway, yeah, I rented it during the summer. I think it was like summer of 95, 96 6-ish. And yeah, I just couldn't really get into it. I love Star Trek, don't get me wrong, but I just couldn't get into it. Donkey Kong Country. Dragon View. Earthworm Jim, Final Fantasy 3. Fire Team Rogue? Future Zone. The Future Zone was Winter 95. Oh, we got some more. Okay, sorry. Why the fuck did they have a Winter 95 game in the middle of 1990? I'm not going to get upset. The Great Circus Mystery starring Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Or, sorry, Mickey and Minnie. The way I was reading it, actually, the way I originally read it was The Great Circus Mystery starring Mickey and Minnie Guts. And I'm like, what? Anyway. I don't know what this one is. I could be Jumanji, but I'm not sure. I don't think it is. We got Juggernauts, Kid Clown, Crazy Chase, Knights of Justice, The Lion King, Michael's Adventure, Chaos in the Windy City. Must be Michael Jordan. Mickey Mania. Out of all those games, I tried my hand at Lion King. I couldn't get that far. NCAA basketball was Winter 95. Pitfall, My Adventures. Once again, we have, why are they sprinkling Winter 1995? It should be like, fuck it. Rise of the Robots, Robotreks, Samurai Showdown, Sequest DSV. I love the TV show. I played the game. The game was okay. I love the TV show more, though. Sparkster, Street Racer, Super Adventure Island 2. I played Adventure Island on the NES, but I don't recall ever playing Super Adventure Island 2. Super Bomberman 2, Super Return of the Jedi, Tarzan, 10 Star, Uncharted Waters, New Horizons, Virtual Bar. Oh my god. And Wild Snaka? A snake? It could be a snake. Anyway. Game Boy. We had in the fall, these are all fall 1994 games. Madden 1995, Race Day, Sequest, Space Invader, Star Trek Generation. Wow, there was a Star Trek Generations game? I didn't know that. Tasmania, Crispin Island Capers, and Wild Snake. Could be Wild Snake or Wild Snaka. And then they were actually still making NES games. Can you believe it? We are now into, the heart of Super Nintendo games, and they're still releasing NES games. We had Wario Woods in 1995, fall in 1994. Okay. Hang with me here, ladies and gentlemen. Hang with me. We are getting close to the end. And I just want to say, if you've made it this entire video, thank you very much. This actually has helped me kind of get some of that stress I've been dealing with. It kind of has helped me kind of relax a little bit, because yesterday when I got this bad news, I was just, I was totally under, I was totally just out of it. I was totally out of it. And this is actually helping me kind of at least get my mind off of it a little bit, anyway. And then we have the next issue, ladies and gentlemen. Next issue, Donkey Kong Country, official Nintendo coverage of the game of the year. Let's see here. Oh, it is Wild Snake, it looks like. It could be Wild Snake and not Wild Snaka, but anyway. Next issue, coming in November, volume 66. The holiday season is just around the corner, so it's time to showcase some great games, with games like Earthworm Jim and Indiana Jones. This year's crop is hot, so don't miss out. And we have, let's see here, let's go over here. Let's turn off the camera. We have Sparkster, Super Adventure Island 2, Wild Snake. We have a special in-depth, I'm guessing, coverage of Final Fantasy 3. We have Indiana Jones's Greatest Adventure. We have Earthworm Jim and a special Killer Instinct update. Oh my god. Hold on, let's go back. Wait. There. Oh my god. Like I said, I will say it again. I think Killer Instinct is a heavily underrated game, especially the first couple of Killer Instinct games. You had Killer Instinct for the SNES and Killer Instinct Gold for the Nintendo 64. Those games were fucking awesome. And then, as always, if you were not aware, if you had, I never saw these when I was checking out these magazines, mainly because they were already gone. But if you got these magazines new, you actually got some trading cards, ladies and gentlemen. In this issue, you had the Tommy Moe's Winter Extreme Skiing and Skateboarding card. You had Monster Max. You had Super Bomberman 2. You had Space Invaders. Not. You have what I think is the best Super Nintendo game of all time. My boy, the whole reason of this video, Illusion of Gaia. And then you had Tasmania, the Christmas Island Caper. And then on the back, it actually has some stats. What does this say? Let's see. Can I find out what it says for Illusion of Gaia? This was power card number 160. Let's see here. I can't see what it says in the green. It's kind of, oh god, what's it? It's overexposed, I guess you could say. Rich graphics, stunning music make this RPG one of the best ever. Totally agree. Young Will, armed with only his magical flute, must help stop the Chaos Comet. Telepathy and transformation into other forms will help with your journey. Hurry, time is of the essence. And then it says, I can't tell what the green words are. I just can't tell what it says. It says find all 50 red jewels. Fucking curse of my life. Complete Moo without dying. And so these are difficulty levels, I think. Novice was find all 50 red jewels. Intermediate, it looks like it says complete Moo without dying. And then Pro, it says defeat the two vampires Jack and Sylvana using will, not freedom. And then it says the system is Super Nintendo. Game type is RPG. Only one player. And it's released on May 1994. And the company is Nintendo. Here, let's zoom back out. Let's see here. Back issues. It has the information for the back issues. Power Fest 1994. You have no excuse. It's totally free. Look for Power Fest 94 at a store near you. I'm not sure what this is. I don't know what that is. And then we have another advertisement. It looks like King Kong is getting ready to basically manhandle this Game Boy, not the Game Boy, this Super Nintendo that has the Super Nintendo Game Boy adapter plugged into it. And then you have a little, thing at the end. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who took the time to watch this very lengthy video. Doing this video actually kind of helped me kind of work my way out of this funk I've been in for the last over 24 hours. It's helped a lot. It's still a little bit there, but it isn't like I don't feel like totally just defeated. And, like I said, this is something that kind of helped me a little bit. So I just want to say thank you to those of you who actually, stayed and watched this entire video. I'm thinking about kind of cutting this up into different pieces while keeping the whole video also. But yeah, so that is it. I just wanted to, like I said, say thank you. And I want to give a special shout out to archive.org. Like I said, if you're looking for a lot of stuff that is no longer accessible, archive.org is a place you may want to check out. I will put the link to this issue of Nintendo Power into the description here in case you're kind of curious. But anyway, did you guys ever play Illusion of Gaia? Did you like Illusion of Gaia? Are you like me? Do you think that Illusion of Gaia is one of the best games ever? I think it is. But but that is it. I'm going to get on out of here, and I have some editing to do, so it's going to take a little bit. But I will see you all later. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse. Wishing you all a great day. Stay safe, everybody. Peace out.